Oh, welcome back to my channel, guys. We're starting off day 2 of the Nationals with this video. It's round 8. Round 1, if you've watched the previous videos, you know I'm at 4-3 right now. I had a decent first day. I have a ton of spread, though, so I want to say I was in the top 15 or so after day 1, despite a so-so record. And I'm paired with Peter Sargious, who I know almost nothing about in this game. He's a bit of an unknown, and there are a lot of very solid players around me in the rankings, so I was kind of happy to draw this pairing. I mean, you should never take anything for granted, but I was happy with this pairing, and I don't know much about Peter at all. Sometimes when you play a lower seed, you can take advantage of their game, right? If you know that they don't know words, you can play phonies. If you know that they have time trouble, you can play fast, but I know nothing about Peter, so it's hard to play this game that way. My opening rec is at the bottom there, EEEIMOT, and there's really not a ton to be said about this turn. You know, maybe in some instances you might consider exchanging EEO and holding EIMT, but I think in most instances you'd just rather play and score 16, so we'll run a quick sim on that just so you guys see that I'm not crazy. We got emote there and exchange. EEO, and I'll let that go for just a minute. It's never good to give up floaters, but also like 16 is still a decent amount of points. So those are actually fairly close to each other, but at the end of the day, emote does take a slight edge over exchanging. 16 is still some points, and it's not like you're giving up a vowel next to a double letter or anything. So emote's the play I make. I decide to play it on top because it takes the front D, the front R, but also the surprising front G, if you don't know that word. So I just wanted to make those kind of less harmful. So emote comes down, and Peter takes a while on this turn and then plays glass, S-E-D, with a blank L like that for 77. So, that's never how you want to start a game, getting a blank bingo with 2 S's coming down, hooking the word that you just put out there. But so it goes. I pull into AEIINQW is my pull, and this is one of those absolute no-brainer decisions, although I did manage to mess one of these up yesterday. You just dump QI for 24 points. Nothing even comes close in the valuation to that. So that's what I do. Peter plays YEA right here for 19 points. That can mean a bunch of different stuff for me. It can mean he's holding EIRT. It can also mean he had 5 vowels and he couldn't find out what to do with that. So not a ton I can really deduce from his play. I pull AEIINUW, which, you don't like drawing UW together, but I just put the Q in that triple word line. So it's like, oh, well, sweet. Now I can score 42, making a no-brainer play. So QUEAN is far and away the play you got to make here. 28.1 points. Let's go for it. Even though I hold IIW, like, you got to do that 100% of the time. So queen comes down. Peter again spends quite a bit of time on this turn and then drops AGUE for 10. So my, thinking he might have vowels looks kind of true, but with a play like AGUE, taking a bunch of time like that too, there's a good chance there was a blank and maybe 2 vowels in there, something along those lines. Not 100%, but that's a weird kind of fish-oriented play. If his rack was truly terrible, where 10's the most he can score like that, he would have just thrown back. Probably. Again, I don't know Peter's game, but that's what most people would do in that situation. So I'm not sure what to deduce there. I pull BIIORVW, so BIIORV forms Vibrio. And, I'm just not really pulling racks that mesh too well. Emote holding EI is not fun. QI holding AEINW. Queen holding IIW. But, at least I've got plays to make out of these racks. And Vibrio here is a word. It's only 19 points, but, like, hey, I can clear up this rack. Nothing else, again, makes sense. It's a little bit frustrating being in this territory where it's like I'm kind of close to just exchanging, but I'm not totally, in a place where I need to exchange. If I don't have an R here, I can probably justify an exchange, but I need a score. I did give a little bit of thought to playing Vibrio right here with Demoter to see if I could get away with it. but I just didn't think it was worth the risk. Again, I don't know Peter very well. There's a chance he's an up-and-comer. He went 6-1 yesterday, I believe, or maybe 5-2, but he's way up there in the standings, and it could be that he studied a bunch, or it could be that he had a good day. Who knows? So I decided not to risk it. I just played Vibrio here, made the standard play 4 out of 4 times this game, and there's not really much to be said. He does finally hit his bingo. He comes down with Neuroid. So he does hit the second blank, and he did have vowels like I thought. Peter, I think he rushed this play because he had spent so much time on the previous few turns, because there were many better bingos here, but I'm never going to complain when my opponent passes up points, and especially not when they gave me an enormous hotspot like right here in the 12 row. I had pulled ADE, HPRW, and we're just going to crush that spot as hard as we can. So just spend a couple minutes looking for 4s that hit the spot as hard as you can. A WH play would be absolutely killer here, but it just wasn't in the cards. It's not a thing I had, so Harp had to come down. I was actually pretty upset I couldn't get rid of the W at all. I couldn't score more than 50 at all with a hotspot opened up like that, but you'll take what you can get always in this game, right? And this is just heartbreaking. Peter puts down Epizoic here, and he announces the score as 60 points. But I knew it wasn't 60 points. I knew it was 80, and it's so devastating when you have to do the ethical thing and remind your opponent, like, hey, you got the wrong score there. It's actually 20 more than you announced. And also now I'm losing by 100. But that's what happened. Epizoic comes down, and this game is starting to look pretty bad for me. I pull into DEFIORW. So, not superb, but at least we're in range and we can have a nice rack next turn. And with that Z right there, again, Zowie is just a super obvious play. I feel like all of my turns this game have been very easy so far. So Zowie's going to come down for 54, and I'm still in this, I haven't drawn that well. And then this is where things get really interesting. Peter plays Athenian right here, and I immediately challenge the word. I know Athenian is invalid, and so I'm going to be able to knock that off. But I'll go ahead and give Quackle his rack, AAHINNT, and Athenian comes back off. So, I've been able to score some points the last few turns and stay in this game, and now I get a free turn, and it's like, yes, this is good. I've still got a chance. DEFORRT is my rack, and I've started to get pretty frustrated here because I just couldn't find good plays, especially given that I know Peter's entire rack right now. Right away, I wanted to play something like Fiod or Fed right here, just because it's a lot of points. It nearly catches me back up in this game, but RRT is just not really something that's going to go too far, and you really especially want to look at the unseen pool right now. Now, one thing I pay a ton of attention to in my games is the vowel to consonant ratio, to the point where actually in the margin of my score pad, I track the vowels and consonants as they're played. I've got them numerically depicted here, and you can easily see which one is ahead, vowels or consonants at any given point. I'll just zoom in right there. You can see, this is a couple turns further into the game, but 9 vowels unseen with 21 consonants unseen. If you count them right now, it's still pretty ridiculous. You see 5 A's, 2 E's, 3 I's, 2 O's, and a U. So we've only got 13 vowels left in the whole game. And that makes a play like Fiat a lot harder to make, too, because there's a lot of the time you just pick up a bunch of those 1-point tiles, 1-point consonants in there, and you're stuck having to play like Torn for 8 or something. You just can't be in that situation, especially not if you're down. So I decided to pass on points here, and I decided to try and play off 3 consonants. Ford is what I elected to do here. Not totally sure it's the right thing. It does eliminate bingos I have coming down through this E and the Epizoic, which isn't a huge consideration. Ford doesn't close any other lines except that E and maybe the P and I guess maybe this S, but it also doesn't open the board. I'm also not super worried about that because the K bingo line is still very big, making TOVs. And I now know that Peter does not have an S since he's just shown me his whole rack. So I'm more of a favorite to pull that S than Peter is. I couldn't really see any good plays that Ford gave back with his rack too. So a lot of different things had me going this way. And Ford finally is what I decided to do. Don't know if that's the correct thing. I finally had a non-standard turn this game, but I stand by that play. So again, we know Peter's rack here is AAHINNT, and Peter played Myth, which kind of confused me because that leave of AINT is not good. But I'm happy, or AAINN rather. AAINN is not good. That leave of AINT is very good, but Myth comes down, and I'm not super worried about Peter doing anything dangerous now. He did knock out the S hook, so good for him. But he did set up another S hook with Myths, albeit it's one that's harder to hit, and he left himself with some garbage. Again, though, vowel consonant ratio, AAINN is not quite as bad given the amount of consonants in the pool. So maybe that's what he was thinking. I'm not totally sure. I pull ABEGIRT. And it's like we're starting to get kind of in territory to bingo now, but really there's just these two lines left at the bottom. I don't have an N for Vibrion, and spoiler alert, once I draw the N for Vibrion, I talk myself out of its validity. At this point in the game, I'm thinking, yeah, it's a word, and then your brain just plays tricks on you as you play the game, right? No, it's Virion, Virion, and Vibrio, but not Vibrion also. It's just two words that I smushed into one. But no, Vibrion is very much a word that I've played numerous times before, and I'm just a bonehead. As far as this turn goes, like, there's really not a lot to do. There's not a lot of scoring opportunity on this board without, like, a hook to Myth. I believe. Yeah, Mythi is also valid, so the Y is still there. I did actually see that over the board. I wasn't totally sure it was good, but I was about 80% sure it was. And I knew he wasn't setting that up because, again, I knew his rack. So I couldn't decide what to do, and finally I just said, forget it. I've got to play the equity play here and just drop a big holding AERT. I'm never thrilled to do something like this, but what else are you going to do? Like, am I going to drop Bug here for 12? Most of the other plays are basically in the same spot or variations on a similar bad play, and there's just not really any way to score a lot of points. So fine, I guess I have to play big. Let's hope I draw a bingo or maybe pick up that S or the Y. Keep my leave dynamic. AERT is good. I just don't think there's anything else to do there. And then Peter comes down. Remember, he's held AAINN. He's going to play an L this turn as well. He's going to put down ALA right there, ALA. So at nothing else, I know that he's holding INN. And I think it's reasonable to assume maybe that Peter's picked up another A if he's dropping these. I don't know that that's 100% of the time. I'm sure it's not 100% of the time, but it seems reasonably likely. But I know Peter's holding INN here, and he's trying to clearly block these lines. So that happens. I pick up AELNRT, and this is just not anything I like to have. It's a bunch of one-pointers on a board where I can't score. I desperately wanted to play a 6 from the I, and I just could not find one, and there's a reason for that. We'll go over to a trusty little Ziziva over here, put in sub-anagram match my rack plus I, and we'll go pattern match I, blank, 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 and nothing comes up. So I was right. I spent a lot of time looking for 6s from the I. There are a bunch of 6s you can make, obviously, but nothing that begins with an I. So sad day for me. I can't make the kind of play I wanted to make and open up lines and be annoying. So I'm still kind of stuck relying on this Myth line. I do have an N, though, for Vibrion. That's there now, but I can't see well, I talked myself out of it. I guess there are good ways to open this board. A play like Nala or something gives me good shots, But what I decided to do, because I wasn't sure Vibrion was valid, is something a little bit sneaky. I decided to go up here and drop AGIN for 12. That is a scary play for Peter to see from my perspective, because there is an unseen F, and AGIN takes the front F. So it kind of looks like I'm setting up a spot to bingo. And there's a chance I can get Peter maybe to drop something over here for very little just to address the bingo line I've set up. So I'm just trying to buy myself an extra turn until I can hit this Mythy or Myth spot, or maybe pull like a Miracle 9 through the LI. But I don't actually have the F. It's all a fake, but it's something he's going to have to deal with. So again, comes down. I really do think a play with Vibrion and like Nala or something similar to that would be a better play if I had been sure of Vibrion, but I am not very good at Scrabble. Again, Peter held INN after that Athenian phony, and he ends up playing Insaner this turn, and it's like, geez, like I just watched you keep a really bad lead 2 turns ago, and now you're going to bingo on me with the S I've been trying to pull all game, and you're going to draw R sign into it too. Like it feels a little bit dirty. He felt kind of dirty about it too. He like shrugged his shoulders as he played it. Like, I'm sorry, man. But there's just not a ton that I can do given that I didn't have the spots. If I had played Nala, I've got a bingo line where maybe I can hit him back. So I've made my share of mistakes this game, but it's still just really frustrating to see that come down from the other side. I pick AELNORT, and I'm super spooked now because if you look at the unseen pool, we've got an E, an I, an O, and a U, and 17 consonants. So I can try and fish right now, but I should definitely hold on to all of my vowels. And also, since he's just played off 7 tiles, he has a totally random rack. And there's a reasonable chance that he's drawn 7 consonants here, or maybe 6 consonants and a vowel. It'd be, crazy luck if he's to pull 5 consonants and 2 vowels out of this pool. So I've got to bet right now that he's got just a bunch of dreck, and I've got to try and open up a bingo line, or at least that's what I'm thinking. I ended up playing LIT right here. I think because there were 2 L's and 3 T's left in the pool, so AENOR is not like incredibly bingo prone, but one thing you're trying to avoid when you're fishing like this is doubling up on similar consonants. So I don't want to draw 2 T's or 2 L's, especially not 2 L's. It'll make it harder to bingo. So that's what I did. I don't know that this is right. Maybe I should just play something down here again. If I know this word, if I know Vibrion, maybe I should try and open up a line some other way, but I'm down 110. Even if I do hit a bingo, like I'm almost definitely dead. I played lit. Maybe the play is to open up a triple there, and again pray that he's got 7 consonants and he can't do anything. If I can play some kind of word that ends in consonants here, maybe that gives me a better chance. I'm not sure, but in the moment I decided to play lit, and I do actually kind of luck out. He is unable to make a reasonable play, or maybe he's able to but elects not to. He plays do here to knock out the Fagin hook that I had set up several turns earlier. So, there's a chance, right? I held AENOR with a pool that looks good with AENOR, but I picked up a Y. I did pick up one of the 3 T's, like I kind of thought I would, but I picked up a Y, and there's just not really a lot you can do here. So I'm just trying to leave the spot alone and hope that maybe Peter didn't pick up a vowel on his next pull. And I just dropped toy over here, and we'll see where that goes. But at this point, I've got to score a lot of points now, and I've got to try and bingo, and it's really rough, because the more tiles I play now, the more likely it is that I'm going to draw a bunch of that dreck out of the pool. Maybe I should just play notary out here and pray. I don't know. I think I'm just dead at this point. So I played toy, and he comes down with muxes, so I guess he picked up EU, or just really didn't feel like playing a vowel last turn for some reason. But muxes comes down, and I'm practically dead. I did actually finally pull into retina, and I picked up a J to go with it. Retina J is not going to bingo, at least not with the 7. So I decided to plunk the J, and I put it up here just in case maybe I pulled into some miracle 9 with LI. I even spent a little bit of time trying to find a 9 I can pull with LI, but I didn't see one, but I wanted to keep the possibility open anyway, so I dropped the J up there for 3 fewer points. And I picked up a V. So sometimes you just have those games where it's like no matter what you do, it still feels like you've done nothing right, and it was a really tough game from my perspective. Peter's gonna drop oft right here, and again AEINRTV is my rack. I end up misplaying this end game. I see that he's got CDKLL, and I'm like, ooh, this is great. But there is one really good play that he has, and that's Fleck right here. And I just didn't spend enough time. I didn't notice that he has that, and so you're going to see me give up several points of a spread in this end game. But Oh, Quackle's taking a long time to solve this one. You can see Quackle's favorite play simultaneously makes Vibrion, which I wasn't sure of, and blocks Fleck. This is just an annoying little setup where I score a lot of points after my play. But what did I end up doing? I ended up... I didn't even write it down. I think I played Exit. Yeah, I played Exit here just to get a bunch of points, and then I allowed him to play Fleck. And then I wasn't even able to go out. I was able to go out, yeah. But I was able to go out for very few points. I ended up just playing Tavern, and I guess I could have made him make another play, or I guess he can't go out with DL, but I don't know. I was ready for this game to be over. I was very frustrated. You know, I didn't bingo. I got bingoed on 3 times. I still had a shot most of it. You know, 3 bingos and the double for 80 and winning a challenge and still losing. It was frustrating, but that was that game. And sometimes this happens, and you just have to stay cool. So we'll see if I'm able to do that in round 7. Here was round 6. I'll see you soon.